We good? No? Hey you guys, it's Izzy. I am back with another video. I'm sorry if my makeup's messed up. I was just crying at the Thank You Next music video again. So basically, if you've been watching me for a long time, you're probably seeing this title and thinking, hasn't she already made this video? And the answer is yes. Long story short, I actually made this entire video 3 years ago, almost to the day. But if you don't know what I used to look like, I wanted to refilm it and not... That sounds really bad. Sorority recruitment videos are highly requested and highly viewed, and I felt that I wasn't personally representing myself the way I would want to. That may sound shallow, but it's like I didn't like the way it was filmed, I didn't like the lighting, I didn't like how I looked, I had no makeup on, and for a video that will be highly seen on my channel, I would want to represent myself the best that I possibly can. So I wanted to re-record this video with new insight because I've now been in college in a sorority for 3 years, and while also, you know, taking into account the fact that like I am just a very different person than I was when I first went through recruitment. So yeah. So this video, if you haven't figured out by now, is going to be my sorority recruitment experience. Okay, just to kind of start off, what's a sorority? No, I'm sorry if you can hear the rain. It is pouring here. At Alabama, we actually have the biggest Greek life in the entire country, so rush is huge here and imperative, and we also have the biggest rush in the country, obviously. The Greek community at Alabama is made up out of a couple of different associations. There is the Alabama Panhellenic Association, which is APA. So if you hear me doing like acronyms, these are what they stand for. So the Alabama Panhellenic Association is basically what all the, not main sororities, but pretty much the main sororities at Alabama fall into. For example, my sorority is an APA sorority, and that's also referred to as an NPC sorority. So those are like the houses at Alabama where if you go through formal rush, you're part of an NPC sorority, or there's also 2 houses that do informal rush instead of fall formal recruitment. The NPHC sororities are the National Panhellenic Council. These are made up of historically African American sororities and fraternities because there are, along with the APA sororities that most people have heard about Alabama, there's actually a huge NPHC community, and they are houses for people of color. Along with NPC or APA, I'm pretty sure the two are like it's the same word for both, but I could be mistaken if NPC is something different. Along with NPC and NPHC, there's also the IFC, which is for strictly the fraternities on campus, the main fraternities you hear of. That stands for Interfraternity Council. And then along with that, there is UGC, which stands for United Greek Council, which are like the honors fraternities, the fraternities that are specific to certain majors and interests and stuff like that, music fraternities, things like that, and they do not participate in formal recruitment. Now I'm going to list all of the chapters participating in fall formal recruitment this year, just because I want you guys to have a full list, so you know what I'm talking about. And I'm going to go in alphabetical order. I'm reading off. 17 houses participating in fall formal recruitment for 2019, so if you're rushing this year, you'll be rushing these houses. And I'm also going to be saying their abbreviations. That way, if you see them online, you don't know what it means, this is what they stand for. Alpha Chi Omega, ACHIO. Alpha Delta Pi, AD Pi. Alpha Gamma Delta, Alpha Gam, or AGD. Alpha Omicron Pi, AO Pi. Alpha Phi, or I guess A Phi. Chi Omega or Chi-O, Delta Delta Delta, Delta Delta Delta, Delta 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 or Tri-Del, Delta Gamma or DG. That was so unbelievably cringy. Delta Zeta or DZ, Gamma Phi Beta or G Phi, Kappa Alpha Theta or Theta, Kappa Delta or KD, Kappa Kappa Gamma, also called Kappa or KKG, Phi Mu. I guess you might see like a PM, but everyone just says Phi Mu. Pi Beta Phi or Pi Phi, Sigma Kappa or SK, and Zeta Tau Alpha, which people call Zeta or ZTA. And then there are also 2 houses which don't participate in formal recruitment. They do informal recruitment after, and those 2 houses are Sigma Delta Tau or SDT and Alpha Delta Chi or AD Chi. So in this video, I will be focusing on APA, or Alabama Panhellenic Association, and those are the sororities that go through fall formal recruitment and what I went through, so I'm going to be talking about my experience with that. Just to start off, we're going to talk about the things that are required for recruitment. So basically how it works is you sign up whenever, I think registration opens in May, and you submit headshot, resume, and a little application about yourself along with your high school transcript. All I'm saying is according to the APA website, so which you can look up online. It is highly recommended that you have at least a 3.2 GPA to participate in formal recruitment. That is where you're in like the green zone. You can't be automatically dropped by a house for a GPA, because many houses have a minimum GPA requirement because you have to have a certain GPA to be initiated. However, I'm pretty sure like the lowest scale is like a 2.8 maybe. And then of course there are houses that don't have a GPA requirement. Registration will open May 1st, and that is when you enter no contact period. So if you're rushing right now, if you have, you know, signed onto the interest forms and stuff like that, you might have sorority girls that follow you on Instagram, friend you on Facebook, whatever. That is totally okay. Feel free to comment, message them back if they message you. However, starting May 1st, there's a no contact rule, meaning that if, let's say you are a PNM and you DM me on Instagram about something totally random, I can't respond because we're in a no contact period. That way there is no interference into someone's recruitment process. So basically how Rush works is it is an entire week long. It happens the week before school starts, and basically you visit every house, and it's a mutual selection process. So basically that means that if I want to be in a house, they have to also want me for me to get a bed. There are 17 sororities now on campus that are participating in fall formal recruitment. When I rushed, there was only 16, but this year we have the addition of Sigma Kappa to our fall formal recruitment, which is really exciting. This is just, I'm going to go over really quickly the schedule of recruitment. So there is a convocation, which is the night before, and you will find out the night before convocation, you'll get a call from a girl called a Rho Chi. And a Rho Chi is basically someone who has unaffiliated themselves from their sorority to be able to run the groups and run recruitment, and be almost a mentor to you during your recruitment, so you can talk to them completely unbiased and they'll be able to help you out. And then on bid day, they'll tell you what house they're actually in. And there's also J boards, which stands for judicial boards, who have also disaffiliated from their sororities, but they don't act as mentors. They actually act as people who like kind of run the actual recruitment, make sure everything's on time and happening. The night before, there's convocation, where basically you go and everyone gathers in Coleman Coliseum, and they have a giant, like I said, convocation. They explain to you what's going on. They give you your shirts for philanthropy rounds, which I'll go over later, and they just explain how the week is going to go. And at that point, you meet your Rho Chi. The first day is open house, or ice water tea days, as they used to be called. So you may hear them as both. They're 20 minutes long, and you go to every single house, so all 17 houses. And the numbers are going to be off that I'm talking about, because when I went through recruitment, the numbers were different because we had less sororities participating, and also we had one less day of rush. Open house is 2 days long, and for 20 minutes you visit every single house, and you go and you talk to a girl. And I'm going to go over what actual rushing is like later in this video. During this round, you wear a dress that would be good for like church. You know, you wear a sundress, nothing too revealing, no rompers, and sandals. That's pretty much just the dress code for that. And if you go on the Alabama Panhellenic website, they actually have this catalog called Greek Chic, where they basically show examples of outfits for each one. However, I'll be putting pictures of good outfits that would work for each day here. The next 2 days are philanthropy rounds, which are 30 minutes long each. And the first round is basically the girls getting to know you. You tell them what you did in high school, what you enjoy, your hobbies, why you're rushing, why you're at Alabama. Philanthropy day is when they're telling you about their philanthropy. So every sorority has a national philanthropy. And for example, my sorority, oh, I didn't even say this. I'm a Delta Gamma here at Alabama, and so my philanthropy is actually service for sight. So we help those who are visually impaired, whether that be children, the elderly, people who have been wounded in combat. Yeah, so we tell you about our philanthropy and what we do to volunteer, how we give back, how we donate money, things like that. The next day is sisterhood rounds, and there are 2 rounds of that as well. When I rushed, there was only 1 sisterhood day, and these rounds are 40 minutes long. during this round is when they show you their like recruitment video. So the ones that get posted aren't the actual recruitment videos that are shown during Rush, because if a video is used during Rush, it can't be posted online. So during this round, they're talking to you about their sisterhood, what they do together, different events they have, stuff like that. The final day is preference day, which is 50 minutes, and now you only preference 2 houses. When I went through, we prepped 3 houses, and during this day is when, you know, you're talking to probably the same girl that you've been talking to all week, where you've kind of gotten to know them. You're talking to them really kind of candidly about how you're feeling, where you're feeling, if you feel like you want to rush to that house, if you don't, etc. Oh, I didn't even talk about outfits. Outfits for sisterhood is similar to open house, but it's a little nicer. It's a little more formal. Similar outfits though, dressed up more, and you wear it with heels. Then preference day is when you wear the nicest dressed. Please don't show up wearing a ball gown. Just wear like a nice dress you have. Now we're going to talk about the voting process and how you're cut down houses every day. So the first day, obviously, you visit all 17 houses. And after those first 2 days of Rush, your whole row Kai group, which each row Kai group has a specific station. So mine was actually in the DG side yard. So that's kind of where you go back to meet every time you're not having houses to visit. During the voting process, so I'm just going to talk about how it was when I did it because it's easier. So I started off, I visited 16 houses, and the first day they told me to cut it down to 12. So I put my top 12 houses that I wanted to go back to the next day that I saw myself being in. So let's say, for the sake of this video, because I don't want to use actual chapters, let's say the 4 houses I didn't want to go to were mint, cucumber, fruit medley, and Virginia tobacco. I would rank the houses with those 4 last. However, at the same time, those houses that you're visiting are also ranking you. So if they decide that maybe you don't have a GPA, maybe you aren't a good fit for their sorority, maybe you didn't have a good conversation there, they can decide that they don't want for you to come back to their house either. So let's say that Delta Gamma had dropped me the first day. Even though I dropped those 4 houses that I previously mentioned, they try to get you a full schedule. So as long as they haven't dropped you, you can get them back. So let's say DG is my number 1, but you know, they drop me, they're off. So that would mean that Mint would move up. And so then my next schedule, even though I'd previously dropped Mint, I would get them back because mutual selection, they didn't drop me, gives you another chance. However, let's say that 5 houses dropped you, none of the houses that you put as your bottom dropped you. So that would mean that the next day I would have a schedule of a couple houses I liked, the 4 houses that I dropped, and then I would be 1 house short. So you can have less than a full schedule. So basically getting a full schedule back is when the houses that you dropped, if no houses drop you that round, then those are gone, you're fine. However, if 1 drops you, then 1 of them will move up, and so on and so forth, until it goes to the point where some people don't have a full schedule every day. The first day, I actually didn't have a full schedule. I had a full schedule the entire week. Besides that, just the first day, I had 10 houses instead of 12. That keeps going day by day. When I rushed, it went from 16 to 12 to 8 to 3. I think those were the numbers. And then preference day, the parties are really long. You know, you're talking to them about, you're getting kind of real with people on preference days, so they give you a long time to talk. After that round, you preference your houses, number 1 and number 2, which one you want more. Now we're going to talk about suicide bidding. So basically, suicide bidding is when I know I want to go DG, I preference them, I really don't want to go mint, and so the only house I put down is DG. So that means that if DG dropped me, I don't get a bid. That means I will get released from recruitment. They'll call you the morning of. Every morning, if every house drops you, basically, if you have no longer a schedule, that morning you'll get a call from your Kai telling you that you've been released from formal recruitment. So if I suicide bidded DG and they didn't want me, then that morning of bid day I would have gotten a call that said, you were released from recruitment. So that's when they talk about maximizing your options. So even if you really know you don't want to go a house, still put it down because you never know, things could change. I know girls who really didn't want the house that they ended up with on bid day, but they decided to stick it out, try it out for a little bit, and then they realized they actually love it, and now they're super involved in their sorority. Bid day morning, you wake up, you wear shorts of some sort and a tank top or a t-shirt, and you go to the stadium. My year, there was actually both football practice and we got rained out, so we were in the parking deck, and I opened my bid in between like cars. I'll insert the video of me opening my bid here. So they hand you an envelope, you know, you're waiting, you have to sit on it. It's really exciting, and then they go 1, 2, 3, and everyone opens their envelopes at the same time. You find out what house you're in. So my bid said Isabel Quinn, Delta Gamma, and then you find girls that have these giant styrofoam cutout letters of like a Delta and a Gamma or a Tri-Del or a KD or whatever it is, and then everyone runs down the row into the house. So DG is actually my year. We were the last to run because we were the closest, but normally we tend to be the first to run because we're the farthest away. Because we were closest to the parking deck, we ran first, but we're actually farthest from the stadium. Now I'm going to talk to you about some things that happened during recruitment that you might be expecting, might not be expecting. First one of which is door songs. So I'm going to insert a video of a door song here. And basically what it is every house at the beginning of each day has like a different door song or the same door song or whatever, and the doors all swing open on the row at the same time and they start going. And it's just a really exciting way for them to introduce themselves to you. However, if you're not prepared for it, it can be a little scary. I'm going to talk about some things that you need to bring in your bag every day during recruitment. So this is just the list of things that I came up with that really helped me. Bring a towel because it can rain, it gets really hot. When you sit in the grass, when you're waiting to go to a house, you really don't want to get mud on your dress or dirt on your dress. So bring a towel. Bring flip-flops because you're not going to want to be in uncomfortable heels all day. Bring some sort of fan. This can be like I recommend like a motorized fan that has like a flip. You can get them at Target. They have a huge section of them, and the Tuscaloosa Target right before rush. Or you can even get really handy ones that just hit into your phone, but I have found that the hand ones work way better. Water. Please bring water. So many girls pass out during recruitment. Also, like a granola bar snack or something. If you know you get low blood sugar, you get hungry, you're gonna want to stay, you know, upbeat and ready for recruitment. Lip gloss or makeup, any extra makeup that you have that like feel like you might need to touch up on, powder, stuff like that, things that might melt off because Alabama heat is insane and you will be so hot. Blotting wipes, like the oil wipes or whatever. A portable charger because your phone might die, you're sitting there for a long time. I'm gonna go over some terms you might hear but you might not know what they mean. So I already talked about suicide bidding. That's when you only put one house down and you really take that like one-in-one shot of I want this house or nothing at all. A legacy. Legacies depend on each house. You can find on the Alabama Panhellenic website. Each house has like all the information about like what a legacy is for them. For example, Delta Gamma recognizes daughters, sisters, granddaughters, great-granddaughters, and step relations as legacies. So that means they kind of just like look at you a little more closely. You know, if your family member is part of that sorority, they'll pay a little more special attention to you. They'll take you into consideration more than they might someone who isn't. Next, we're going to talk about recommendation letters. I highly recommend sending in recommendation letters. They're not required for recruitment. I know girls who, like my roommate freshman year, didn't have a single recommendation letter and she had a full schedule every day. However, I highly recommend recommendation letters. Basically, if you know someone who's in a certain sorority, then they can write in to that house and recommend you or not recommend you to be in their house. However, if you don't know anyone in sororities, you can reach out to alumni associations in your area and they'll be more than happy to help you find someone to meet, send your resume to, and they'll send a recommendation letter. Now we're going to talk about snap bidding. So basically, if you were released from recruitment, or you dropped out of recruitment, because you can drop out if you just think, hey, this isn't for me, I don't like any of the houses I have left, I don't want to do this, you can drop out of recruitment. Snap bidding, my sorority personally doesn't partake in snap bidding. I don't know if we have in the past, but we haven't for any of the time that I've been there, but I know other sororities do, where if a sorority doesn't reach quota of the pledge class, then they offer snap bids to girls who obviously haven't received a bid from another sorority, and you can either accept or decline, and then you will join that pledge class. I'm not really sure the protocol for how you go about getting a snap bid though, because none of my friends have ever been snap bidded. So now we're going to talk about some things to avoid talking about during rush. There's the really obvious, everyone says it, the B's. Boys, Bibles, and bills. So like, don't talk about money, don't talk about your boyfriend. I mean, maybe you can talk about your religion if they bring it up to you or whatever. Like, feel free to touch on it, talk about things you volunteered with, stuff like that. But spending the whole time talking about your religion when they really want to get to know you is maybe not the best. Same with politics. You never know who you're talking to. You know, you don't know the background of the girl that you're talking to, that you've been paired with to talk to. So be careful about that. The advice that I wish that I knew going into Rush, I mean, clearly I had a great Rush. I ended up in somewhere where I'm so happy. I've been able to have a leadership position since freshman year in. Something I wish I knew is that the girls of the house want to get to know you. So the point of this isn't to be talking about your friends. It's not to be comparing yourself to other girls who are going different houses. There's a right house for everyone. You know, if you, like, I remember so clearly one of those houses I really thought I loved and I thought I wanted to go, and they ended up dropping me the morning of pref round, and I was so devastated. And I was talking to my Rokai, and she just said, you know what, you're meant to be where you're meant to be, look at your other options. And I had loved Delta Gamma all week, so I was really glad that that was still there. And I had 2 other houses that I really did enjoy. Looking back, I see the house that I thought I really wanted, and looking back, who I am now, that wouldn't have been the best house for me. Delta Gamma is the best house for me. It has totally shaped who I am as a person, and it has totally shaped the way that I've experienced college. I'm so grateful that I went Delta Gamma.